Fix my hair. I think we're live. I'll fix my hair for you guys. Hey there. Happy Tuesday. It's our live show where I talk about all sorts of things Hamilton County. We call it the HamCo Roundabout. Last week, I talked about Carmel allegedly banning pickleball. And this week, Chicken and Pickle is backing out of Fishers altogether. So clearly nobody knows what's going on with the pickleball scene here in Hamilton County. Honestly, pure chaos. But if you're new here, I'm Cameron Geisman, your local real estate agent, community connector, and proud HamCo hype girl. And we've got a packed lineup today. Santa's already setting up shop at Allisonville Garden Center. We're going to talk about that. Fishers is getting a brand new rehabilitation hospital. Carmel's adding a 55 and better apartments. And we've even got some weather weirdness and construction updates around town. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dive into what's happening around Hamilton County this week. Now, what I will say is I want to know where you're viewing from. It's nice to kind of see, are people local watching, or is it more of a crowd that is outside of Hamilton County? If you're watching this later, I want to know that as well. So it's not just kind of like a live type of thing. It would be nice to know where are you from, and yeah, to kind of have an idea of what I just realized maybe I should put this as a question up here for you guys so that as you're watching, maybe if I haven't said where you're at, where are you watching from? Like to know where you're watching from so that we can kind of get an idea of where our viewers are from. So I'm going to kind of jump in, please. If you're watching, I'm going to leave that up for a little bit. If you are watching, leave a comment. I like questions. So if you're live with me here, leave a question. If you're watching it again later, please ask questions. I want to be able to answer questions, and I might not be able to answer it clearly in this one if you're not live with me, but if you're watching the replay, leave a question. I'll try to answer that in the next show, which we come on every 2 weeks on Tuesdays at 2. So Tuesdays at 2, every other Tuesday. Okay, so first topic that we are going to talk about is the pickle. Chicken and Pickle. Now, this was a huge topic. Everybody was talking about it. Chicken and Pickle said that they were coming to Fishers, which we were really excited about. And it was a huge buzz. Honestly, I feel like everybody was talking about it. Everybody was excited about it. They're in that process. I will say though, from the time Chicken and Pickle announced that they were coming to Fishers, there's been multiple pickleball places, like 24 Dink is one. There's another one. I can't even think of the name of it, but there are multiple locations that now offer pickleball. So I wonder if it was one of those where it just didn't pan out because other places move faster. Don't know. But Chicken and Pickle, a chain of indoor-outdoor entertainment complexes, featuring casual restaurants, sports bars, and pickleball courts, has called off plans to open a complex in Fishers. The Kansas City, Missouri-based chain announced plans in March of 2023, so over 2 years ago, to open a venue by late this year in the Fishers district, east of Interstate 69, between 106th and 116th Street. However, these plans never came to fruition. At the time of the announcement, Chicken and Pickle said it expected the Fisher site to receive more than 700,000 annual visits and create more than 150 jobs. Chicken and Pickle revised national investment strategies that resulted in a new timeline that did not meet our timelines for development for the property, is what Mayor Fadness said. So it kind of just goes on to talk about Chicken Pickle. I'm not disappointed. I think pickleball is, of course, getting big. The new event center actually has basketball courts that can be turned into pickleball courts. So if you're a member at the Fishers, not event center, did I say event center? Community center. And I think that just there's a lot of different local parks that have added them. And so I just think that at the end of the day, I don't know if maybe they thought that it wasn't going to be as profitable as maybe they thought it would be. I want to know how many people are really bummed. I've never been to a chicken and pickle. I'm assuming it's chicken and you play pickleball. And so it sounded kind of fun, like a fun place to go with family, especially during the winter because it was indoor. And so I'm curious what is going to then replace that, that location as to what was going to be at Chicken and Pickle. So Carmel's not banning, but Fisher's is. Well, Chicken and Pickle. Anyways, okay. Next up on our docket is Winter Wonderland. Christmas is abundant. Every place you go, I feel, is just Christmas on Christmas on Christmas, which I absolutely love. A few years ago bought a flocked Christmas tree. I've always wanted a flocked Christmas tree, which is where it has like the fake snow on it. And I wanted kind of a bougie Christmas tree. So we put that up before Christmas. And so I always love doing things. Well, I've talked about Chris Kindle Market, but I wanted to give you an other option, especially if you're in Hamilton County. So Allisonville Home and Garden, Allisonville Nursery is what we like to call it, but Sullivan's actually purchased it a while back. They have reindeer visits, craft Thursdays, adult only gift wrapping night, doggy day all day, and then Santa Saturdays. And so I just want to kind of show you days that you can take your kids. You can walk around, visit the reindeers, especially on 12/18, which is this coming weekend. You can actually go and see reindeers, which I think would be so cool, while also shopping or doing whatever. And then Santa is there the 13th and the 20th. So just think that's really fun to be able to have a place to take the kids and to be able to show them, see Santa, take pictures. And this, you can go to Allisonville's Home and Garden and be able to see like when the visits are there and other activities. There's activities all over. I've thought about putting together a kind of a clickable packet that you guys could click on to for events. If that's something that you would be interested in, shoot me a comment below of like, yeah, can you send me all the events going on in Hamilton County? I haven't put it together. I've thought about putting it together because we go to a lot of them. Like this weekend, we're going to go to Chris Kindle Market, taking the boys and enjoy some of what Carmel offers. So most of the lightings of the lighting of the Christmas trees have been done. So there aren't any more of those, but I think that there's a lot of different places. There are skating rinks and stuff that you can do throughout Hamilton County. Because again, with it being a family oriented community, they try to do a bunch of events. So it's really great. Next up, we're kind of shifting. Honestly, there isn't a whole lot going on, especially with it being December. There isn't a lot of news of like new restaurants or businesses coming to town or anything like that. And so now it's more technical, which I know a lot of people, I follow a lot of the economic styled stuff that's coming to Hamilton County, because I think that it's good to know that jobs are coming to town and that there's a lot going on. And so Encompass Health is building a rehabilitation hospital in Fishers. I think this is huge, with 100,000 people in Fishers, and then of course, the surrounding areas. To be able to have hospitals and not have to go all the way downtown is huge. And so Encompass Health Corp plans to build a freestanding 50-bed rehabilitation hospital in Fishers. The Birmingham, Alabama-based company announced Monday. The new hospital will focus on patients recovering from debilitating illnesses and injuries, including strokes and other neurological disorders, brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, amputations, and complex orthopedic conditions, according to publicly traded encompass the nation's largest owner and operator of inpatient rehabilitation hospitals. It's going to be a 56,000 square foot facility, and then it's going to be located at 1400 East 136th Street near Ascension St. Vincent Fisher. So that's going to be really great because you've got St. Vincent's. You also have IU North there as well. And so those can both feed into this rehabilitation center. I also think it's great, especially like, so I look at this as a multi-tiered benefit, right? You're bringing employees to work at the rehabilitation center. It's keeping people within the local area close, so they're not having to drive as far for rehabilitation. Facilities like this tend to also use traveling nurses. And so that's something that could be where, let's say you're an investor and you are looking for rental properties, maybe look into what that would look like for a like either short-term or intermediate, traveling nurses rentals. So there's all different aspects that I think this is a benefit for the Hamilton County and or more specifically Fishers, Indiana. And so when I see news articles like this, it really does make me kind of giddy that it shows that a lot more is moving to the Fishers and Hamilton County area, and we're growing. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about that situation when it comes to what like where people are coming from, moving to, and or how many. So anyways, I don't want to tell you, so I'm like trying to figure out how to tell you but not tell you. Keep watching. So cheesy. Anyways, the next thing is the developers are planning an $88 million active adult apartment project in Carmel. So this actually grabs my eye because, they're saying active adult apartment. And so what does that really mean, honestly? So two developers have unveiled plans for an $88 million apartment project aimed at people aged 55 and over along Old Meridian Street in Carmel on a site that was previously designated for another multifamily housing development. Now, I know I will probably get people that are frustrated with me even saying that I'm excited about this because it means it's another apartment complex. And I get it. I understand everybody's frustration with, I don't want another apartment complex. Why are we building all these big complexes? But I will say this is different. If they're going to have it be for 55 and older, that's your baby boomers. That's your people that are aging out of houses. That will give the ability for some of those older individuals to move into an apartment, still stay active, but then their houses can go to, younger families and kind of keep that circle moving. And so I don't think it's bad. I also, with the location of where this is at, it's great because they're in the hub of things. They have access to everything. If you have relocated here, which again, I'm going to get to that a little bit, but like if you have family members that are older, we've actually helped many clients where their parents have moved here and they want a place. This is a perfect place where they can move into something like this and yet still be close to you and not be, in another state. Like we had clients recently that they moved their parents from Utah. Right. And so that's the benefit. They could have something like this. Now they moved into a small ranch in a 55 and older community, but that's a good example. Fishers-based Rebar Development and Indianapolis-based developer Signature LLC are working to develop Signature 55 Carmel, a 5-story residential building that would contain 210 age-restricted apartments, 1,200 square feet of amenity space, a 356-space parking garage, and a 1.54-acre park and trail dedicated to veterans of the United States military. You guys, I know people don't want apartments. I think if we focus on something like this, I think this sounds great. I think that like it even says, Signature 55 Carmel is planned on more than 4 acres between Brewburger and Home to Suites by Hilton. And so I think that, again, great location, lots of activities, and hopefully they'll keep kind of that like active, so to speak. This isn't far from the Monon, so you can jump on the Monon. And yeah, so I think this is really great. I love that Carmel is kind of exploring and doing something a little bit different than just popping up a traditional, apartment complex that nobody wants, right? I do see the value in them to a certain extent. It's just, this is a different take on it, and I'm here for it. I think that it's great. Plus, or specifically because it could potentially help the people that are in houses move into the apartment, and then those houses can go to kind of first-time homeowners or people who are wanting to move into the Carmel community. Sometimes there's not a whole lot of movement. There aren't that many houses that are for sale, and so it's been a little bit more difficult. And Carmel, for the most part, is built out. Like, there's not a whole lot of land for places and people to go. And with Carmel as advanced as it is, we've talked about this. I actually did a new video that specifically talks about Carmel, and the bouginess and or high end aspect, and the work, live, play, and just how well Carmel did. So you want to check out that video if you're really wanting to learn more about Carmel. But this, I think, is another great aspect that Carmel is kind of thinking forward, going, okay, we need apartment complexes, or we want to do something. Here's the active 55 and older community. So that's really good. As we head into the winter season, I noticed we actually had snow in November, which we normally don't get snow as much in November. This is the first November in quite a while that I actually remember getting snow that stuck. Like, there's still snow outside. That is unusual, I would say, for Fishers and or Hamilton County. And so one of the things that I love, this is a website that you can go to called TrafficWise. Great website. I think that if you are traveling or going somewhere and you need to know exactly what like an intersection it looks like, here is essentially a live video that shows what I-69 and 37 is like. And my computer, this works really well on your cell phone. But so it's not going to show right now, but it's just a really great, see if I can, so you can kind of see, like, if it's snowing and you have to head somewhere, I would jump on this and look at and see what is the traffic like, how are things looking, what's going on, because this is literally like right now. So if anything, if you are, if it's horrible out, and this zoom, if you zoom out, you can see all of the cameras. So like, depending on where you're going, like I got to go to Keystone. How is Keystone right now? Well, that stream's not available. That's not showing you anything. Anyways, there's a lot of these that, there's one. So like, that's the highway. Highway's pretty good. I would go on the highway right now. The other day when it was pouring down snow, it took me an hour and 30 minutes, and I would have liked to have been able to see this, and I totally spaced it. And the other day I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be able to show that website to you guys so that you know. So you know where you're going. So TrafficWise, and you can get it on your phone, and it kind of shows everywhere. So, and it's also sometimes just fun. Like it's you can see what's going down in Evansville. I think I clicked on Indiana. So this is just Indiana's. There's another one where you can actually see other states, which is really fun. I played around with that the other day, but I apparently didn't save it because not that most people really care about what's going on in California. I don't want to know because it's sunny and bright and shiny. So anyways, TrafficWise, really great. But don't forget to leave a question and tell us where you're at. Always still want to know where you're at, but I'm going to keep trucking along since I don't have any questions at this point in time. New home applications fall for the third month in a row in central Indiana. Now, this is not a surprise. This normally does happen during the winter months. But at the same time, sometimes there are permits pulled that are preparing for the spring. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Applications for new homes fell for the third month in a row on a year-over-year basis in central Indiana in October, according to the latest statistics from the builder from Baggy. Builders filed 979 single-family builder permits in the 9-county area last month, a decrease of 14% compared with the 932 permits that were filed in October of 2024. The year-over-year decline was the fifth during the first 10 months of 2025, following a streak of 20 straight months of rising applications. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that transitions into the springtime of next year. It's projected with rates, because rates are about 0.75 down from where they were last year. So it's interesting to see that even though rates are down, permits are also down, which usually that's swapped, right? When rates drop or are lower, they tend to be higher. I think part of it is just because that 0.75 over the year has been a really slow transition. And so that's played into how people have kind of looked at and or considered moving. I still have a ton of buyers that are on the fence, that are looking for that perfect house. And if that perfect house hits, they would be willing to do something. But yet at the same time, people are holding because of the holidays. So, which always happens. I actually really love January and February as a list time. It's such a great time because people have kind of gotten through the holidays and then are like, okay, we know we want to do something. So that's really fun. So we'll see. So far in 2025, 8,708 permits have been filed overall in the area, slightly fewer than the 8,729. So we're not really that far off from a yearly basis, but it'll be interesting to see how that finishes out. One of the things that I came across this week that I thought was really, really interesting and wanted to also share is how many people in Indiana actually own their homes. I found this really interesting, not just from the aspect of, Indiana, but looking at other states and how they compare. I do a lot of comparison because there are a lot of areas that are very similar in a price point perspective or a affordability perspective, but yet I'm always looking to see, okay, where are people moving to and from? And this is one of those examples that's really good to look at. So we're sitting here at 71%. So 71% of people who live in Indiana own their homes. That was actually higher than I thought for some reason. But then when you look at, Michigan is higher, Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky are all lower, not by a bunch, you're talking like 3. But it's still a considerable difference. But then looking at, so we get a lot of clients that when they call us, they're considering Texas or Indiana. And it's interesting to see that Texas is a lot lower at 62%. And then we also get a ton of people from California, which that doesn't surprise me. They're really at the, not the lowest, but one of the lowest at 56%. DC actually is at 41. So they have the least, but California. If you look at Carmel and Carmel, it doesn't surprise me when you have some of those people that are like, hey, we can't afford in California, but we can move to Indiana and have a beautiful home and be able to afford what there is. So I just found that really interesting data to kind of see. This is one of the websites that I absolutely love. And it kind of talks about the graphics showing what it is and where the key points are and everything. And so it's always good data and or something to keep an eye on. And so just thought I would share it with you today. All right. So where is the market moving? So what is going on with Hamilton County? How are things moving? We're now in the middle of December. I don't have December numbers. I have November's numbers, but I didn't have November's numbers the last time we talked. So I always like to kind of show you what it looks like or where we're at with things. So currently right now, and I always start with Indianapolis and all the surrounding areas. Sorry, I always go the wrong direction. Which is pretty much this whole map behind me, right? So you're talking all of Indianapolis, typically 1 and 2 donut counties out. That's what this data here is showing. So we're at 305,000 for a median sale price, which is down from October. Then we have 2,400 sales, which is down quite a bit from 2,999. That's a pretty decent jump. Again, not really that much of a surprise. It is down from this time last year. This time last year, we were at 2,479, and we're at 2,411. So, not a huge gap. So that's why I'm not as surprised, but still good to know. Median days on market, even though this is green, I feel like I have to say this every time. That actually means that it's getting worse. I say worse with a grain of salt. Let me be very transparent, because 31 days is still a decent amount of time to sell a house. I've done this for 22 years, and honestly, I've seen that median days on market way higher in the 90s. And so like 31 days is still a decent amount. It's not as great as it was, back in May and April when it was at 10 days, but this still isn't horrible. I track data a lot. So with all of our listings, I'm always looking at this. So I still think, again, I'm not going to say we've completely swapped over to a buyer's market, but of course that pendulum is swinging. New listings is definitely down 33%. So 2,400 versus 37. That is a big jump. So that's where we're starting to really see. Now, there's a lot of what plays into this. There are a lot of listings that also withdraw typically right before Thanksgiving. So in between Halloween and Thanksgiving, people say, I just want to take like a 2-month or a 3-month break. Our system here locally, in order for your listing to show as a 0 days on market, you have to come off the market for 90 days. So a lot of agents use this as a strategy of taking their home, if it's been on the market for a while, taking it off the market so that it can sit for 90 days and then relist it come the springtime. So it looks like it's a brand new listing. Great tactic if you're able to do that. And of course, there's so many things that play into that, but that's something to look at. Active inventory is also down 8%, but technically up from November of this time last year. And then month supply, this is one that I really look at, because 2.8 months, if we stop listing any more houses, it's going to take 2.8 months to sell all these houses. So that's getting up there. We haven't been that high in over a year. Right now, I could go further and see what this looks like if we go even further out. But 2.8 is a decent number. So this month, we're going to be showing you properties in Carmel. And so we want to look at Carmel specifically. So I look at Hamilton County. So we'll start with Hamilton County, and then we'll go granular down to Carmel. So currently right now, all of Hamilton County. So those are your primary 4 cities that we talk about, is Carmel, Fishers, Westfield, and Noblesville. Now it also includes like Sheridan and Cicero and some of those smaller towns up there, but that's the primary 4, right? That's going to be the most that's going to play into the numbers here. But the median sale price is $450. It's still climbing from November to December. So it dropped from September to October, but then from October to November, we jumped a little bit. Not a lot. I mean, you're talking $5,000, so it's not very much. But we did drop it in closed sales. So we went from 512 to 515. Again, not a whole lot, but you can see that it was 15.8%. Days on market is jumping up there. It's 27. So we're still quicker than, let's say, Marion County and everywhere. We're moving a little bit faster, which usually happens in Hamilton County. It's a highly desirable area, and so it usually has one of the fastest days on market for the most part. List price median, all those, I don't really look at a lot of that. New listings is down 396 versus 656. That is a huge jump for Hamilton County for it to go down in new listings. And active inventory dropped a ton. So I think you're seeing permits that are dropping. You're seeing houses aren't being listed. But it's still up from this time last year. So that tells me that it's still solid from a year. It'll be interesting to see how low, if we get as low as we were in January, February, and March. Be interesting to see how that drops over the next few months. And then we're at 2 months. We were at 1.9 last month at 2, but we were as high as 2.1 in September. So good numbers. And then if we go straight to Clay, so their median price point. So you can see Hamilton County compared to Carmel. Carmel's definitely bringing our number up because their average or median, not average, their median sales price is $655, which is still a jump. Now you're going to see, I think, a lot of this that is jumping from that 550 for 575 to 655. The data is showing partially just because some of those really high-end properties, because Carmel does have some of those properties that are $3-4 million that they are pulling that number up, and there aren't that many homes that are in that more affordable or lesser price point. Closed sales are down at 114 closed, 25 days on market. So it's even faster than all of Hamilton County, which is great. New listings is down 61%. So you can see October there were 180 and then we dropped to 70, which that's a pretty drastic. You can even see November of last year, that is down 32% from last November. And then active inventory is also down, but still up from a year ago. And then 1.6 miles. Where are we driving? 1.6 months is the month supply, which you can kind of see is up from last year. And then it's worse. Carmel still is moving fairly quickly. The inventory is just so low. Like, I had a client the other day that was asking for homes in Carmel, and she's like, am I missing something? Am I not seeing something? And it's like, it's one of those where I don't know why. We're looking for homes. We're looking at stuff. I just saw a message, but I don't know what it means. Oh, I thought it said PM on my thing. It says, hello. I'm going to try to say what that is. Tawhid Uslam Fahim Vlogs. I probably totally just butchered that. I'm so sorry. But hello, welcome to the show. If you have any questions, let me know. So Carmel's doing really well. Ultimately, just to kind of see how Carmel is moving, it's doing really well. And so the end of the show, I always like to show you houses. The last one, honestly, is probably one of my favorite. I can't wait to show it to you. There's something about this house that I'm kind of interested to get your take on. I want to know if you would do this, or if you like it, or if you're like, oh, hell no, don't do it. But I'm going to make you wait until the last house because it's the bougie house. Okay, first house. This is the least expensive house that is currently on the market in Carmel. It is not in a subdivision, but it is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, 1,275 square feet. It originally listed was too high, which I know I've said this on my channel. I don't know how many times. A lot of houses priced too high. They are still thinking that it's 2023, and it is not. It's 2025, almost 26. And you can't shoot that high, but it was on the market for 118 days. And so my recommendation is try to see if you can do some negotiating on this, because clearly it's been on the market 118 days. It is vacant, and so they're paying for the house, and it's not going anywhere. So, but it's a super cute house. just the natural windows, right? This is kind of caters to more or is similar to like a mid-century modern styled home with windows that go further to the ground and bring all that natural light into that front room. You've got that front room, what looks like right off of the entryway kitchen. So it looks like they've updated it, right? They've got, fresh cabinets, granite countertops, it looks like, stainless steel appliances. So it's really cute. I do think they probably overshot the market when they put it on the market out of the gate, which again, I understand. It happens. I don't recommend it. Try to kind of run through the numbers of everything. Great little backyard with a fence. So if you've got kids or dogs, or just want privacy so people can't stare at you, it's got a fence. And it's really cute. And then I want to show you location. So that's one of the things I always try to show you is location, to kind of all the amenities that Carmel has to offer. So this is kind of downtown Carmel here. This is 116th Street. And then a lot of the shopping and dining is right here, but you're super close to that Keystone era where, where we showed you that video, or I guess not video, the live feed of traffic, because Keystone is right here. You've got Nora. I love Nora. If you're kind of how do I explain Nora? Nora is one of those areas that if you kind of like crunchy, granola-y, hippie-ish style, then you will love Nora. There's a Whole Foods in Nora. There's a holistic doctor that is right by there, and then all the little shops. There's also a Target too, but it's a great little area. There's some vegan restaurants and some more trendier styled shopping and dining. So love Nora, and you're super close to that. So this is a great location. Plus, if you have to head downtown, you can jump over to Meridian and head straight downtown, which if you're not from here, Meridian, one of the things I always recommend to any client that comes into town is to drive down Meridian, because the houses are just fun to look at and are beautiful. So that's the first one. Then I kind of go to the middle of the road. So our second house that we're going to look at is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,500 square feet. Again, it's been listed for 144 days. I wanted to kind of give you an idea so that you can see some of these houses that have been sitting for a while. That honestly, I know that a lot of people want to sit here and be like, there's something wrong with it. There probably is nothing wrong with either of these houses. I just think there's a lot of sellers that are pricing really high. Like this started at $850 and now is down to $775 after 144 days. That this sucker is so cute. You've got land, you've got what looks like they've rehabbed it, right? So they've cleaned, because normally this age of a home, which it was built in 1975. So it's older than even I am. And so you have, I clicked on the wrong thing. It looks like they've cleaned the stone and or painted. And this even looks like it's been replaced. It looks like it could be a composite siding, which is really nice to kind of see that they've made some adjustments to it. Huge back deck, which we'll get there here in a second. But look at this. They definitely opened this up. This house was not built in 1975 to be this open. You've got the nice, beautiful wood beams. You've got the big, large windows on the back. You've got a sunken-in family room with a stone fireplace, stainless steel appliances, center island. This is just a beautiful, aesthetically beautiful house. You've got the double doors that flank to open up into your entryway. I have a feeling that there was probably a wall here at some point, because as you can see, you have a vent in the middle of the floor. So that would normally be along a wall. And so this was all closed in, and they've opened it all up into that kitchen. And then it looks like you've even got a, like either a pantry or a spot that you walk in through the garage, but beautiful sink, waterfall. These look like Corian or quartz countertops that have the waterfall, which I hate to say it, but the waterfall is actually starting to go out. It'll hit Indiana here in a few years. People will go, I don't want a waterfall. I think it's beautiful. I don't think it should ever go out of style because I just think it's a beautiful aesthetic. Love this tile that they've put kind of jagged so that it's not just a plain tile, but black. That's really beautiful. They've done a really great job. Added tons of storage, right, with all the cabinets and countertops. Yeah, I saw this and was like, this is gorgeous. I'm going to skip through because I want you to actually call me and we can go look at it. But I want to take you to the backyard. I mean, you could look it up on Zillow too if you really wanted to. But here's the backyard. Look at this. Look at this huge deck with railing. They have different seating areas that you can hang out on, but it all opens up to that front when you pull into the garage and has entrance into the house. But this is so great. Such a unique property with land that you just don't get a lot of. Look at those windows. I'd have all of the plants. Adam would be so annoyed. I literally have a row of plants. Just all of the plants. All of them. I buy too many plants. I'd have too many plants, wouldn't I, babe? Okay. So yeah. I just thought it was that was a good view. You have a creek. You could go creek stopping with the kids or nephews or grandkids. Yeah, so good. Or the dogs. You got dogs, they'll probably run. And I do love when they do this, that they show you the actual size of the yard. And you can tell they've done some work, right, with fixing the grass and stuff. But such a great property. This is one of those where it's like, okay, it's been on the market. It's right by Crooked Stick. I mean, look at that. You're so close. Anyways, great property. I think that it has huge potential, especially, they have dropped the price, but it's been on the market for 144 days. They started it listing back in July. I was counting my fingers. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, because I apparently don't know that July is 7. It says 7/9. You guys. Oh, let me show you a location. I'm just laughing at myself. Sorry. Oh God, I love it. Dang it. Okay, so Crooked Stick is right there. Coxhall Gardens, we've actually talked about that in our lives. We talk about Coxhall Gardens, not our lives, our videos about Carmel, because it's beautiful, great for photos, like family photos or senior photos or whatever you've got going on. Great. And then location, it's such a great location because this is that Meridian 465 interchange. So you're super close to Zionsville, downtown Zionsville. We talk about that a lot. That Keystone that I talked about is probably like 10 or 15 minutes away. And then that downtown Carmel is here. And then where all the shopping and Clay Terrace is right here. So, you're any direction you drive 10 to 15 minutes and you have everything at your disposal. Like, great location and on land where you're not having to be, right next to your neighbor, so to speak. Okay. Last one. I'm so excited about this last one. It is 4.4 million. It is also the most expensive house currently listed on the market. It only listed 9 days ago. I'm curious how long this one's going to last because it's cute. It's eclectic. It's just a really, great property. So 7,900 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 7 full, 2.5 baths, in Hamilton County. So I'm going to show this one to you because I just thought it was so unique. Like, look at the back of that house. So there's a pool. It's on land. You have tons of natural light. Look at all that glass as your fence or whatever you would call that, your railing. your patio railing. Let me flip through here real quick, but love this. Love a ceiling, like an added ceiling detail, coffered ceiling entry right here off of the office. But then you have the sliding glass doors, but then you still have tons of, I'm a windows person. I also think, especially in Indiana, because seasonal depressive disorder is something that happens in Indiana. When we can get as much natural light into the house, we're always trying to open our windows and get fresh air and try to like get us out of the funk, so to speak. It's really great. That is a mirrored wall. Like that makes that look huge. But that's right off of the front door space. And then there's kind of like a butler's pantry or a space that you can, people can work back here to prep food and stuff, but then bring it out to the main kitchen, which is really great. Nice, big, open. Again, I said the last one was on crooked stick. I was wrong, you guys. This one is on crooked stick. This is what happens when I look at too many houses. But do you see what I'm looking at right here, right now? Do you see that elevator? Is that not the coolest thing? Because it's glass. It's almost like a statement piece without it being like a nasty elevator. Super cool. Huge pantry. Love that these are those big windows that open out. You can see that you actually back up to a pond. I want to tour this house. So if you're interested, call, text, or email me. Let's go see it. I want to see it in person. It's so beautiful. Look at that fireplace that is outside, but it's kind of like a triangle. So you can kind of just sit out back and enjoy that right there. You could tell it was a gloomy kind of day because you almost have an overcast on, or they've tried to color this. I don't know if it was just, I don't know if I would recolor that. I know, because it's like sorry, now I'm critiquing the picture, even though you guys don't care. It's a beautiful house. There's more of a natural, like where you can see inside and outside and see that fireplace. Yeah, that's really cool. Anyways, it's another glass. I wonder if it's like a wallpaper or panels, because you can see that there's the line there. Curious. The views are just great. Like, yeah, just so. Okay, here we go. Here's the primary bathroom. Do you guys notice that there's no glass? There's no glass. Like this is your shower, but you just like walk in and just stand. I feel like I would be so cold. I saw this and was like, okay, is this a mistake or is this real? But there's no glass. I want to know, is this something that you would want? Like, would you want, sorry, Adam's trying to correct me. Would you want a shower that has no glass and you're just like in the like in the winter? Okay, couple questions. Is the floor heated? Because if the floor's heated, then okay, maybe, but can you have a heated floor under the tiled part that is for where that drain is? Like, I just have so many questions. Anyways, I want to know if that's something that you would like. I think the concept is there. I honestly, in my 22 years of doing this, I've never seen a shower this big or this this big in as big of a space. Typically you have like, you'll see absolutely where you'll have like a traditional secondary bathroom where you've got your sinks, your toilet, and then the bathtub, right? And then you'll put like a curtain or something up. That's kind of open to everything, right? And even most showers will have the open above the glass. But this is just like, I feel like the steam would go everywhere. Yeah. Anyways, cedar closet. I feel like it was just like, it looks like it's so hazy. Maybe they came in the morning because this almost looks like it's wet, but yet the clouds, this is what I think happened, you guys. I think they went in and altered the sky on the picture. Because I'm like, it's confusing to me because this looks like it's foggy and not really all that great of a day. And then you have this sky. Sorry, I know I shouldn't recognize things like that. It's just like that doesn't look like there's any. You guys, just ignore me right now. Like there's not a single cloud and it's not blue. I am curious. I know this is the end of the show. I'm sure nobody's probably still watching anymore, but I am curious. Do you like looking at AI altered images? There's this whole debate, and maybe I'll do this as a topic when I start one of our shows one time. We're getting a lot of feedback on if people like AI or altered images. I understand the concept of changing out to have it be more of a sunnier or a picture that would be better. I just feel like it might be a stretch on this one because you can see that it's different from the bottom to the top. I understand why he did it. I'm just not sure as a buyer. So I guess that's my question. As a buyer, does that bother you? Or does that not? You're like, I don't really care, Cameron. Just show me the house. Look at that. I do love that. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'm not going to show you everything. Okay, let me show you location. Yeah, like they just altered it. Yeah, that's not my favorite. Okay, location. Okay. Coxhall Garden. So the area I picked, just so you know, because I wanted to show you the least expensive and most expensive, these houses ended up being fairly close to each other. But it's down the street from Coxhall Garden. Again, that college park area where this is 421 that flows all the way down into downtown Indianapolis, but super close to Zionsville for shopping. And then you just have to go the opposite direction to do shopping in Carmel. I mean, there's shopping along here too. And then downtown Carmel is here. So anyways, I digress. I just wanted to show you this really cool home. I really just wanted to get your opinion on what you think about having a completely open shower in a primary bathroom that is that huge. And do we think AI is important? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is it irritating? Is it not irritating? I digress. That's pretty much the show, to be honest. Thank you for watching the HamCo roundabout. Let me click off of this so you're not staring at that house the whole time. I'm still getting used to working this system, so to speak, of how things work, how to get things up when I want them up, sharing it and trying to figure it out. So anyways, that is it for today. Thank you for joining us and catching up on what's going on around Hamilton County. Tuesdays at 2. Here you go. If you, of course, liked our roundabout, please hit that like button and maybe even subscribe. I will also post a video here. I know we talked about that Carmel video that we did. I'll try to post the video there so that you guys can click on that one if you want to learn more about Carmel. And then we will be back in 2 weeks. So that will be right before Christmas. If you have any questions, leave comments below to let us know what questions you want us to answer next week or in 2 weeks. And thanks for sticking it through with me on this Tuesday at 2 HamCo roundabout. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.